welcome to the Fat Squirrel Speaks. Today is the last Wednesday in May, and this is episode 316. I am Amy Beth, also known as the Fat Squirrel on Ravelry and the Fat SQRRL on Instagram. Thank you for coming over. It is getting a little sun right now, but it's a bit rainy and gray here in Indianapolis, and I would also say probably in our collective American consciousness. So sorry for not like a super cheery introduction, but since we've talked, we have shown ourselves repeatedly. I've tried to start this thing like 6 times, and I'm just gonna, please just take a moment to know with me that like, but I am gonna just move through because I don't know how to do that today. So yeah, let's just go. Shenanigans. There are shenanigans. It's been a while since we've talked. The weather has gotten warm and then cold again, as it always does. And I have tons to talk about. I will try to edit myself a bit so that we can have something for next time. But I did want to mention a few things. I was so excited a few weeks ago. I took a printmaking class at the Indianapolis Art Center like this late winter, early spring. And they host something called the Broad Ripple Arts Fair. Apparently it's this 50th year. I've lived in Indianapolis for 16 summers, 16 springs now, and this is the first time I've ever been. And I realized that it's because it has a cover charge. And it's not cheap. But my instructor was there, and it's really only the first time I've ever been, like, anyway, I've experienced Indianapolis Arts Center beyond just like riding by it on my bike or whatever on the Monon Trail, which is like one of our big, long, nice rail trails here in Indianapolis. So I wanted to go because she was going to be presenting, and then of course I totally weirded out and just like spent like 3 seconds in her booth because I was just like super awkward and like, I am a teenager again and you are my teacher at the grocery store, but you live at high school and I don't know how to interact with you here. It's embarrassing, but nonetheless, I did have a great time. My family and I went, and it was really big. It was a big show. The art center itself, I mean, it's a fairly nice size, but the grounds I didn't realize were quite as big as they were. And so they had, I believe, 150 artists with wares to sell. And it was really awesome. There was, there was a pretty good variety, I would say. Again, it was surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. And there was a great variety from like small jewelry makers. I mean, it is hard to stand out when you're making jewelry at an artist fair because like it's just like pottery. Like it is hard to be distinctive, but I think folks did a really good job of each presenting a pretty good unique perspective. And also there was this one painting of a hippo that I wanted so badly. There were several things I wanted so badly. But I also did get some things. So I just wanted to briefly show you what I purchased. Actually, I purchased a necklace, but I am restringing it because it's like an enamel copper piece but it's on a cord that I didn't care for, so I need to restring it, but I'll wear it. Maybe. Do you ever remember to wear jewelry? Like, I'm not an adult in this way. I just don't, also I don't leave the house a lot, let's face it. So maybe that's part of the reason. But one of the things, okay, so I'll show you this first because this is a printmaker, and so I was excited because of printmaking. Okay, so there were several printmakers, and they were all very exciting, but this is the one that I ultimately purchased from. His company is called Flat Mountain Press. His name is Trevor Grable, and he is from, it doesn't say on here, but he is from Indiana. I want to say he's from Terre Haute, but I gotta be honest with you. Indiana, as I mentioned, I've lived here 16 years. I still don't know where things are. Do I know where Terre Haute is? No. Do I know where Vincennes is? No. Do I know? I do know where Kokomo is. But like South Bend? Don't know. Ohio, I can tell you all the major cities in Ohio. Even though I lived there technically now. No, I still live there more than I've lived here. But like I've driven here for much, much longer than I drove when I lived in Ohio. But man, I'm telling you, that fourth grade Ohio history course, that unit on Ohio history, it's deep. It's deep in my soul. It's in here. Oh, Indianapolis, Indiana, I have no idea. Greenwood, Greensburg, Greenville, Green Mountain. Those aren't even towns, but they all sound the same and they're all here. Actually, not all of those are here. But you know what I mean. But anyway, he is in Indiana somewhere. And he had, I could have bought everything, I think. Then maybe there was 3 things I wouldn't buy. He had one, I was so good at it. What is it? Is it called a reduction process? So in printmaking, you usually carve whatever you're going to print. Like, and you may have like multiple layers of color. So maybe you have like 3 blocks, let's say, to make a 3-color product. But there's this thing, and I believe it's called reduction, where you start out, he does wood prints primarily. So like he would start out with whatever size thing he was doing, and he would carve maybe one thing into it that would not be inked in this case. And so he would ink the plate, print the thing, like print, let's say 20 of them, print 20 of those, and then he would take that block and carve it again. So then the next layer gets printed on those 20 prints, and then in a different color, presumably. And then like that goes on until you are left. So literally you can only make those 20 or however many prints you made. Whereas in most printmaking, you can just keep going. Like an artist might decide to do only a certain number of prints, but like that plate theoretically still exists unless it's just short, but you know what I mean? But like in this process, there are literally only this many. And so it is kind of an awesome way to have something that is a limited, there's not a lot of them floating out in the universe, but it's also still, depending on the artist, obviously, it's still maybe approachable financially. And he had one that I really liked, but I didn't get it. But he also had a red-winged blackbird that I wanted all of them. But I really ultimately was deciding between this one and another one. And the other one was like 3 women. It was about this size, maybe just a tiny bit smaller. This is what, 16 by 20? No, 16 by 19? 14 by 19. It was maybe a little bit smaller, but it was like 3 women in this kind of like, just like they were huddled together. And it was so beautiful because you could see all the wood grain in the print. And it was so beautiful. And I was really deciding between that one and this one. And I asked my family and they were like, choose this one. I think it's because the other one was really mournful feeling. And they were just like, ooh. So I get it. But this is the one I got, which was Home Under the Oaks. Of course, I haven't framed it yet. I think I'm just going to do one of those, like, have you done those, like, magnetic frames? Like, that's just, like, the pieces of wood that you can make them, and you just use a strong magnet, and it's just got, like a little string that you hang it from. Because something just feels, like, morally wrong about spending more for the frame than the art. Not that I'm, like, dissing framers at all. Like, framers beautiful, they do a lovely job, like for archive, like whatever. Framers are awesome. I framed for a while at just a chain place, but whatever, I did it. So I understand it's lots of work, and like those materials are very expensive, and it's all custom. So like, so I'm not trying to, okay, really just Paige the Framer. If you're watching, I love you. That's really what I'm saying. But like, it's not approachable to everybody to have something custom framed, right? Like, and even to like get like just a cheapy frame for this would cost probably equally, almost as much as the piece of art itself. And obviously framing does a beautiful job. Like that's part of the thing about framing, is that it protects the artwork, right? Like it's like there's archival mounting, and like there's UV glass that's going to help it not fade. There's like a million reasons. But sometimes like, whatever, maybe I'll just get a wood thing. because also I kind of just want the like texture of it to be, I don't want it to be locked behind something and stuff for some reason. And it's not so precious that I feel like I have to preserve it for like my child's dogs to take on Antiques Roadshow. Just saying. But yeah, it's really just so beautiful. I don't know if you can, yeah, you can kind of see like the texture of the wood block inside of it. And also I just have a thing for houses in art. I don't know. Oh, it's so beautiful. Anyway, so yay. I purchased that. And then there was an artist who is called Bill's Retro Robots. And he had the cutest robots. Oh my goodness. If I sneakily took a picture of one, I'm going to put it in here, but I don't remember if I did or not. Okay, so here is the robot. Do you see him? He was walking his dog. And then I just also added other pictures in because I forgot to mention how cool it was that everything was so well integrated into the grounds that it felt just like shady and lovely. And then there was also demonstrations. So here are the art glass blowing ladies. Yay! Okay, if I remember it's there, but if not, then you just got me again. But he had amazing little sculptures and they were all with like, you know, found or discarded objects. And so we saw him very early in the show. So I don't know how you operate when you go to like a fair or a festival or something. I always have to do like the first round and I usually don't buy anything on the first round. Sometimes I mess up. I usually don't buy anything on the first round. But we saw him very early and like everything he had was so charming. And so my husband went back and bought us this guy who's this little mouse. Right, with his little spoons and his croquet ball and his bell and like his little spoon tail. I mean, how charming. So charming. He had like lots of dogs. The dogs were all so charming. And like some of them were made of like brownie cameras. Do you remember those? Those like, I want to say 60s, 70s cameras. And like, anyway, it was just like so fun. I loved it. I could have, So anyway, he was very enjoyable. So those are the things we bought. I also discovered this artist called Daniel T. Driggs, which I believe I saw him at the other art fair I went to at the Indianapolis Fairgrounds. And I really liked his stuff. And then I just like snagged his postcard. And then when I got home, I realized he was in Thorntown, which is like home of Knitspin Farm. And it's also like, you know, like driving distance, like reasonable. But he does these beautiful little animals and with these like very watercolory ephemeral backgrounds. And they are super enchanting. Oh, very enjoyable. So yeah, yay! And then what else? My husband and I, it was my husband's birthday and it was a big one. So we went for a few nights down to this place called Nashville in Indiana. And it's basically an hour away from us. And it's kind of like an artist, it is an artist colony. I don't know when it became, I want to say like the 20s is when it kind of like birthed itself. But it's been around, like I went there when I was younger with my mom and like, so we went there and we stayed in this little cabin, which was so cute. It was like a mother-in-law's cabin, but it wasn't like in the backyard. It was a mother-in-law's cabin in the country. So like the people clearly who were like the children lived down the way a bit. But our house was so cute. It just had one bedroom and like the kitchen, dining room, living room were just one space. It was perfect. And like, the way it was designed, almost like it had like eaves where she would have had like a carport. Why was I so enchanted when I realized it was a carport for their aging mother so that she could park her car out of the snow? Are carports a thing everywhere or is that regional now that I'm saying it? Basically, it's like a half, like it's a garage without walls. It's just basically a lid It's just a lid. Sometimes they are independent from the house, like just like a garage, like a detached garage would be. But sometimes they are just attached, and sometimes they're just like a little like I'm gonna say pole barn, but I feel like that again is like a regional thing. But like sometimes they're just like like 4 poles with just like a very makeshifty kind of roof over it. So yeah, but I was just like so enchanted. But now it has a hot tub in the eaves and a swinging porch swing. I love hot tubs. I'm not gonna lie. I don't care who that makes me, but I love a hot tub. Love it. You can tell me, I don't care if you can have your human soup all you want. Like I get it, but that's okay because I want one. Like I'm just saying, every time I go to the fair, there's like the row of hot tub salespeople, which tells me there's a weird margin on hot tubs, which makes me suspicious. But nonetheless, I totally want one. I'm like, maybe we could get a solar panel to like power the hot tub so I wouldn't feel so weird about just like wasting one. But this was like a perfect hot tub because I don't know about you, but I am hella buoyant, okay? I am a fat lady with lots of fat cells and they float. And so sometimes when I'm in a hot tub, like if the jets are too vigorous, I literally have to fight to like stay down and not just like bob on the surface and like kick people in the face and have my boobs smack me in the face. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, not that my boobs are totally free, but like I float. And when there are like jets that are like shooting water, if those jets are too vigorous, I, again, just turn into like a human life raft. I'm saying you should definitely go on a cruise with Fat Friend. I'm just saying we're safety. We are safety. Appreciate your Fat Friend. But this one was perfect. It was a smaller hot tub, and I guess I just didn't make the connection that like some hot tubs have more jets than other ones, and it had fewer, which I guess technically is worse because that's like the whole point, but it was perfect because I could actually relax in it without feeling like I had to fight to not float to the top. And then my husband and I totally had like this pleasant hour where we just sat on the back porch and looked at birds and groundhog families, which I don't think we've like literally ever done. And then we walked around in Nashville and it was lovely. And I went, oh, I already put it away. I got to go to the Rabbit Hatch music store. How cute is that? Why didn't I buy a t-shirt? I was tempted. But I gotta show you because the picture is really cool. Round. Okay, so full confession. I have not touched my banjo in like a year. I think I need to take it out of the case and just like hang it somewhere where I'm seeing it all the time. And so I will be like, or I just need an extra 7 hours in every day. You know, whatever comes first. But I did buy this book because, do you see this cover? I mean, this could have just been an empty book and I might have bought it. No, but maybe. Is this not fully like 70s folk revival Foxfire like jam with the quilt and this, what, I don't even know what tone this is. This specific font, like, is it Western? We don't know, but there weren't that many fonts then, so we just took what we could get. And then inside there are additional cool 70s Foxfire kind of photographs. Yeah, I'm gonna be smoking a pipe in like 27 seconds. Right? How cute would I be? Don't tell me, I know it's not good for me. Just like some corn in front of a barn. See that corn? See how far apart those corn stalks are? That's definitely old. And then also it was literally other, it was actually songs that I was interested in. I didn't even notice this one. Beginnings of a split oak basket. It's an egg basket with oak, not just reed. Oh my gosh. There's just some dudes playing music in front of their trunk. Oh my goodness. There are not enough pictures of gnarled up old women in this book, but they at least put her on the cover. She's a little gnarled. I mean, do you see this door jamb? Do you see this falling apart wallpaper? Okay, I gotta stop. You're like, stop looking at the book with us. I mean, okay, I'll just put it here and you can keep looking at it while we talk. Oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. Okay, so that was exciting. And then, oh my gosh. There was, oh my gosh, I have video of it. Okay, if the video is decent, I'll put it in here. Okay, so sorry the frame rate's a little funky. I had to slow it down because I moved too fast. But yeah, like, look, it's just like full and crazy and but also like warm and cozy and nice. I don't understand how she did it. She's very good at putting together a shop. And then I had to add these pictures because do you know what this is? This is a giant geode. This is just out in front of somebody's house, but I had to show you because this is Southern Indiana. And we like randomly have a ton of geodes in Southern Indiana. So yeah, this is just like a planter, just chilling in front of somebody's house, being a giant random geode. Indiana's weird. Like a whole town full of like little shops. And like, yes, boy, I don't know how any of them operate, to be honest with you. Like, as a person who owns a business and does not pay rent for retail space, I don't know how like anybody has a retail shop now, especially since there are definitely handmade goods in that city. Excuse me. In that town, there are definitely some unique offerings, but like, let's face it, a lot of those places you could just get that stuff on the internet somewhere, right? Like without even leaving your home. But the cool thing about it is that there are occasionally some really standout things. Oh my gosh, by the way, there was this tiny little quilting store, which was like not my color palette. Like it was very brights, but in every single window, she had an antique sewing machine and they were so cute. I don't know, antique, what is that? But whatever, like sewing machines from like, I would say the 1900s up through the 1970s. Anyway, so we went into this one shop, which was kind of off. We'd never been in there before. And they were like a florist, like, but they also had like, okay, so my mom was a florist when I was a kid. And like, she did have like retail goods, like in terms of like gift items and stuff like that. She definitely had that stuff. And she definitely had like planters and stuff. But I don't know, it seems like most places now, at least when you go to a florist, it's just like primarily cut flowers, maybe some like silk arrangements and planters. Well, they had all that stuff, but it had like such a different feel because like when you went in, like everything was super dense. Like it was arranged sort of like color-ish, like season-ish. But like there was just like stuff in like, it was like all of the space was stuff. But now normally that would freak me out, right? Like normally that would be, my senses would be too overwhelmed and I would have to leave. But I don't know. They were like, I don't know what like weird magic witchy stuff they were putting out, but it was okay for me for some reason. And like through all of this like man-made stuff, there were also like they had cut flowers in the back, like in a regular like florist cooler thing. But throughout the whole place, they also had like all these like little house planties, and they were really beautiful, and they were all super unique. Like they were not, a lot of them I mean, I'm not a houseplant devotee because I can't maintain houseplants because I have a dog that wants to be in every window of my house. But they had like, I mean, just so cool, such a variety. And again, I think maybe like the interspersement of like the fresh things with the other, it was just beautiful. And like somehow the lighting was very pleasant and relaxing. And then it also probably helped that was like one of the first places we went into, so my senses were probably still like a little bit like on the hot tub vibe because I'd hot tubbed that morning. Outside, they had beautiful flowers, and I'm not gonna lie, I wish I had taken a picture of it. I really do. There is a hole in my heart in the shape of a very round pig with succulents in it. Like this like planter, and it was like this big-ish, but it was the fattest pig, and it was super round. And he had just like tons of succulents in him. And I don't know, I don't think he was like concrete because he looked smoother than that texture. And like he kind of had like a faux marbling. I'm saying these things and it sounds like the tackiest thing you ever heard of. And maybe it was, I don't care, I loved it. And like he looked sort of like not mossy, but if moss were a paint style, like I don't know how to explain it. And he had like all these like beautiful little succulents in his back, and then there was like a smaller pig, and then there were a chicken, a big chicken, and also a smaller chicken. And of course the chickens had hens and chicks in them. I didn't want the chicken, but I did want that. I want a chicken with hens and chicks in it. Anyway, I loved it. And I was proud of myself for not buying it. And I am still a little proud of myself for not buying it. But if I happen to find the amount of money it was lying on the floor outside and it doesn't appear to belong to anyone, I'm going to go buy it. Because it was precious. And I loved it. But anyway, the town was so beautiful. We at one point, we are really like living our old people life. We watched birds. And then at one point we got like, I was so thirsty. I stopped and got an iced coffee at like a little place there. And I got my husband an iced tea because he doesn't drink coffee. And so like we just sat on this bench and just like people watched, and like, but the garden that we were in was so beautiful. Like there's like 4 or 5 shops, I don't know, whatever. They've been there forever. They've been there as long as I can remember. And like it's like right kind of in the middle of town, but like there's this beautiful garden, and there's this sycamore tree which does not get enough credit because there is not enough credit for it. It's this huge sycamore tree, and it just perfectly shades this entire area. And then there were just peonies and roses and bulbs and what else was it? Oh, those what are those ones that are in the onion family that are like just like a purple globe on a stalk? Are they alliums? Am I saying, is that the right thing? And they just look like a Star Trek flower. Like they don't look real sometimes. Now here they looked more real because there were other plants around them, but we have a place like on the corner and they just have those, and they just are like these tall stalks with these purple things around them, and then the foliage is like all super low and they don't look real, but they're awesome. And so they just had so many. Oh, and there was a dogwood tree that was blooming, and I actually got to see it up close, and it was a pinkish one. Okay, here's a weird throwback. When I was very young, okay, not very young, junior high, high school. I think I was a freshman in high school. My mom took me to a art fair in Berea, Kentucky, and there was a person there who had stationery that he had put like pressed dogwood blossoms and then dipped that in beeswax. And I Loved it. I still remember them very vividly. I mean, I definitely got some. I don't know where they are now. Hopefully they're in the world. But they were so gorgeous. So I had like this, like, my little heart gets so happy when I see a dogwood. But anyways, they're beautiful. It was lovely. And so then we we came home after, like, in the afternoon, and my husband hadn't slept because, like, both of us are weird and we can't sleep in different places. I don't know. We're old. I think we're old. And so he, like, took a nap, and then I did not, but just kind of kicked around a little bit. And then there was this really huge, oh no, wait, that's not right. Okay, that's, we got home. We had breakfast at this little diner in Bean Blossom, and it was very good. But then we didn't eat anything, so we got home, and, like, we had, like, a little sandwich. We had some little bit of ham left over. So we had a little ham sandwich. We just sat on the porch swing for a little bit, and then this big, huge storm blew in. And so power went out, and I was like, okay, cool. Husband, take a nap because you didn't sleep enough and you'll be cranky. So take a nap. When you get up, we'll go get something to eat, and, like, then we'll come back and do more hot tub. So he sleeps. I wake him up at 7. The lights are still not on, but, you know, we are in a rural area. Because we're not actually in Nashville, we are further out. And so I get him up. He's cranky as all get out, because not only now is he hungry, but he also just woke up from a nap. So he's not fun. But I get him into the car. I'm like, we're going to go get something to eat. So we go into town, and there's nothing open. I wanted to go to this distillery because they had a drink that involved rye whiskey and peach, like fresh peach, like slurry. That doesn't sound pleasant, but like slushy. That sounds better. And I really, really wanted it. So we go to this place. It's, like, kind of off. It's not in town. It's, like, off. And, like, I drive by, and, like, the giant gates are closed. And I'm like, well, that's weird. I mean, this place is a distillery. I figured even if their power happened to still be out, they would probably have, like, a generator, you know? And, like, when we went through town, like, I noticed that town's lights, like, there were lights, but okay. And, like, out, and when we left from our cabin, we did get stopped by a police officer, like, in the only pleasant experience I've had with a police officer, I think, where he flashed his lights at us and was like, you cannot go that way because there are 2 trees down. And we were like, okay, thanks, dude. So we went a different way. But anyway, so I'm like, okay, this place is closed. Well, we'll just, I mean, okay, maybe it's kind of not in town. Like, maybe they have a different, I don't know what's going on. So we'll go back in town and get something to eat. Nothing is open. The grocery store is not open. McDonald's is not open. The Family Dollar is not open. The only place that is open in the entire town, actually at that point CVS might have been open, but I didn't even think about that. Because again, even if we would have gotten, like, frozen food, we would have no way to make it because they have electric stoves at our place. I'm really spoiled by my gas stove. It's really nice to know that you can cook something even if there is, like, no power. And then, like, the other place that opened it is called the Chocolate Mousse, which is just, like, I think all ice cream, and my husband is lactose intolerant. Also, we can't just eat ice cream for dinner. I mean, I could. But, so I'm like, nothing is open, and we have no food. We have, like, a piece of ham and, like, 6 pieces of rye bread and some popcorn. And again, I know, like, I will be okay, but my husband has no body fat, so he does not have reserves. So when he gets hungry, he's unpleasant to be around. So I'm like, our executive decision making is shot. Because I've even gone up to a pizza place and, like, whose lights were on, and, like, knocked, and there was a woman in there, and she was like, no. And I was like, I'll give you $40 for pizza. I didn't say that, but I would have. She could have been like $60. I would have been like, okay. So then we drive 40 minutes. Because again, my executive decision making is not good. My husband is unable to function. I should have stopped, done a little phone touching and like figured out what exactly was the closest place that might have electricity. But quite frankly, I didn't know. And I knew that the one place we went through is actually like a literal like city. Columbus, Indiana is like a pretty good population. I was like, they're going to have something. So I knew that if I went that way, even though it was like a 40-minute drive, that probably there would be food at the end of that rainbow. And again, I'm thinking, we'll drive out there, we'll get something to eat. By the time we get home, the lights will be on. Okay, spoiler alert, the lights were not on. We drove all the way there, we got some food, we got back, the lights were still not on. The only flashlight in the place had no battery. I mean, it had batteries, but like when you turned it on, if light were a sound, it would have been. Like that's what kind of battery level. So we had that like, it's like at this point it's like 10:30. The electricity has been off for like, or maybe it's 10. I don't know, but the electricity has been off for like 7 hours. And because I am not like the homeowner, I can't call to be like, or like there's a little outage map, but I don't know where, I mean, I know where we are, but I don't know like what group we're in. And like, are those people who are clearing the lines at the end of the road that we couldn't go through, are they like actually fixing the electricity that will go to our place? Or is that just like step one of like 6 steps to get electricity to where we are? So finally we just decided to come home, which was so sad. The next morning I was even like we had to turn in our key because like, it's olden times there's a key. So we just we go back into town, turn in our key, and then backtrack all the way back to Columbus again. Gas is $5,000 a gallon. But I was the next morning, we were sitting at our house, and I looked at him and I was like, I mean, surely the power's back on. Like technically we're there till 11. Maybe we should just go back and get hot dog. We wouldn't need the key. And he was just like, and I was like, oh. The rental place was very kind, and after I sent them something, they did refund like a partial, like our half of our Saturday night stay, which they did not have to do. And so I am appreciative of it, but even Monday I was like, that hot tub is just there. Nobody's at that place. You could just go back. I'm a rule follower by like 100%, but apparently I was willing to just throw caution to the wind. Oh my gosh, I just dumped water down sorry. So yeah, those are all of our shenanigans. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to do, okay. Okay, never mind. I'll put that in the beginning. Okay. So maybe we should talk about like knitting and stuff. Let me just look. Yeah. Oh, the other thing I did, which I didn't mention this time I started the podcast, is that I did have my first ever facial. There's a little place that I can actually walk to. It's called Half Moon Brow Studio. I don't know why, but I'm like so down with like doing things I don't normally like to do if I could walk to them. It's like novel, I guess, or ride my bike. But anyway, it was so relaxing. I've had massages before. Like my husband works a very physical job, and he's basically made of like sinew and jerky. And so like he does need, however, I'm hydrated enough that I'm okay usually. So I've had massages, but like I've always been very friendly with the massage person, and we've just like chatted the whole time. And so while it's been a nice experience, it's never felt like deeply relaxing, right? Because also the thought of just like being in a place like where I'm not doing something for like an hour and like just being is actually, it makes me quite anxious to think about. So like part of that is just me being like, I'm going to talk to make this thing that makes me uncomfortable, like something else. I don't know. But I went to this esthetician. I'd never had one before, but they had this nice thing where you could like book a consultation, like a 15-minute consultation. And then she would like, you know, ask you some questions and then decide what you should have. And she was darling, for one thing. She was so cute. But she was also like very excellent at like being very friendly and personable. But like once I got into like the, like, cause it's like a massage table and like you don't have a top on because like there's some massage involved in it, like the shoulders and neck. Like she was just like very good at just not, like it wasn't like, she was just very good at not promoting me to talk. You know what I mean? Like she wasn't rude or she didn't shut me down or anything, but she was very good at being like, I could, you know, her energy was very much like, this is like a relaxing space. Like there were these like fun, watery mood lights everywhere. And there was of course the spa music. And like, I never thought that would actually be a relaxing experience. I was really going for like the skincare aspect of it. So pleasant. I mean, I don't really understand fancy ladies necessarily, but like I did have some fancy lady longings. I was like, oh, maybe I should be a fancy lady because this is pleasant. It was so nice. So if you are interested and you've always just been curious but not sure, I highly recommend it. It's a great gift to ask for. And I was also afraid that it was going to be like a upselling thing, and it wasn't. She didn't try to sell me anything. Of course, it was my first appointment, so maybe she's just holding back. She's going to lure me in, whatever worked. But you know, I was afraid they were going to be like, oh, you really need this like $95 skin cream, and then I was going to be like, okay, you know, but she didn't. She, in fact, recommended me to buy something from The Ordinary, which I will tell you about next time if I feel like I think it's kind of working a little bit. For like my rosacea-y redness. I'm not diagnosed with rosacea like by a person who has diagnostic abilities. But I mean, it seems like that's what's going on. But she did recommend something from The Ordinary, which was very affordable. She's so cute. But, maybe we should also talk about it. I just wanted to pop in and do patron prizes. So if you're a patron of the podcast, everybody just take a minute to send your thanks. Because they are what makes this thing possible. So this quarter, our winners, let me show you what you're getting, I guess. So 2 prizes are these crazy pants bags that I made for you. So these are definitely one of a kind. This is block printed crochet granny squares and like the bottom of a yarn, like a crochet yarn or a cotton yarn ball thing. And like, do you love these colors? And also like, oh, look at that. There's the Supreme badges. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I'm a little jealous, but 2 just for you. And then the other prize is you can choose. So obviously you can choose which prize you want, but okay, you know what? Just choose one of these 4 things. I don't know why I was trying to like make it more complicated. One prize is also, there's 2 of those. Then another prize are these 4 skeins of Cormo yarn that I got from Purveyor of Fine Yarns, who's out of Wisconsin. So they are worsted weight and they are so soft, and I definitely got them for myself, but then realized that you should have them because I'm not going to get to them in the next minute. So they would make amazing anythings, like tank kind of sweat, like sleeveless sweater. I mean, I guess depending on how big you are, whatever. Hat, scarf, mittens, gloves, anything. Boom. Cormo, if you've not knit with it before. It's delish. And then the 4th prize is 2 of these. Do you see me looking at Gus like, did you just... Okay, well, there's 2 of these. Oh, I did leave the other one over there. So So this is also Cormo. So if you're a hand spinner, or if you just like want some delicious fiber for any of your crafting projects, this is Cormo Blue-Faced Leicester. Is it BFL? Now that I say that, I'm not sure. And bamboo silk. So this is Indiana sheep, and it's milled at an Indiana mill, which I've heard does lovely things, and this looks gorgeous. So just tell me which one you want. Here we go. The winners are randomly generated. Tracy Hyatt Grice. Sorry. I couldn't tell if I wrote a G or a C. So Tracy, tell me. Henri, I think. Henri, A-N-N-R-I. You win. And Pam Freeburn, you win. The three of you win a prize. So give me your first, second, third choice, and I'll send it out to you. You can contact me either via the contact form on my shops page, fatsquirrelfibers.com. You can send me an email at fatsquirrelfibers@gmail.com. You could do that. You could send one to the same address that your payment shows up to on your account. That'll totally work. But send me your, I think I have everybody's real human name, but your actual human shipping address, and then I will get your prizes out to you. Sorry for the delay, but I think they're really good. Okay. We're back to your regularly scheduled programming. I will definitely talk about sewing next time, but I am saving my sewing. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, finished objects. Here's my bag with my things in it. Okay, oh my gosh. Okay, I finished many things, y'all. I finished a pair of socks. Right? How cute did these turn out? This is Knit Spin Farm. It's her superwash Tarhi fingering. It's 90% superwash Tarhi, 10% nylon. So sorry. And this is her Goodwill Dippy Bowl colorway, based off a Dippy Bowl she purchased from Goodwill. It is exactly right. So I think these are the Twizzler socks, but I no longer look at the pattern, so I'm a very bad person to say things. But I love them. And it might not even actually be the Twizzler, because I do think I changed the ratios maybe? No, I think it still is. I don't know, whatever. And I actually did them with a heel flap this time, which I usually don't do, but it worked out perfectly. Could you even tell? Right? Magic Joanna yarn. It went exactly back in sequence in everything. I didn't even do anything to it. It just did it. Magic. So yeah, they are so charming. I love them. And I have this much-ish left. Okay. Then we talked about this pattern that I forgot the name of last time and have since also. The Stay Soft shawl. Now I say that, and that. Some of you were like, how can you not remember this? There's a lot going up in my brain, y'all. Sorry. All right, I'm just going to call it the Stay Soft, and if I'm wrong, feel free to laugh. Because I think this is also the one that I did reverse. I did the, I think the green stripe is actually supposed to be over here, but I didn't actually read the pattern and just was oh, it does this, this, and this. So that it was well, yes, it does do this, this, and this, but in the exact opposite way that you did it. So I think mine is actually backwards. And this is made with the beautiful Sunday yarn from Espace Tricot. In 3 colors, there's this beautiful woodsy green. It's almost like a hunter green, but more khaki colored. And then this very soft, brownish rose color. I would call it wood rose. I don't know if that's what color wood roses are, but it's sort of like wood and rose together. And then, okay, the lavender's by itself too. This like very smoky lavender. Also, that's a good section for you to see colors. There we go. So yes, they offer this yarn in a DK and a fingering weight, and it was given to me by the former owners of Espacio Rico. But isn't it lovely? I like it quite a lot. And I love knitting shawls with not superwash merino. Not that superwash merino is fine, but I just love that they're slightly more tactile. They're slightly like this one is like a Massam BFL. I want to say it's Massam and BFL. And for me, it's definitely fine to have next to skin. I know some people are very sensitive, but for me, it's fine. And I just love that it kind of like, again, those scales on the fiber just kind of hook into each other and they just hold themselves together. It feels like less slippy, and like when you wrap it on your neck, it'll actually stay because it kind of has enough texture to help it do that. Okay, and then the last thing I finished is the section cut. No, I did it again. The chirrup cowl, and this is designed by Asa Tricosa, or Asa Tricosa. It looks like this. And it is written for DK. And so mine, I used, Mine, I used this Manchelopi, which is 100% Manchego wool from the sheep the sheep that make the cheese. I mean, they don't make the cheese. They make the milk that makes the cheese, but could somebody please just draw me them making the cheese? That's really great. That should be what they're... Anyway, so it's like a Lopi style yarn. I bought mine from Kansas City, Yarn Social Kansas City, excuse me. And it is delightful. I highly, highly recommend it in terms of just, it is sheepy and gorgeous. Oh, and I wash mine with Tuft Woolens. It is, for me, it is very soft when I am like knitting with it, but I guess it has maybe it has just a little guard hair here or there, which it's, for me, it's softer than like a regular Lopi though. And then the green is Liminal from M to the Third Yarn Company. And this is 100% New England sourced Romney and merino wool, U.S. merino wool. 100 grams to 240 yards. Hand dyed with natural dyes. So it's a very special cowl. Oh, I just realized I spent forever folding it up and trying to get it to lay right, and now I just unfolded it. Whatever, I love you. But anyway, so the pattern is written so that this is also garter. But as you can see, I made mine stockinette with just a little bit of garter on the bottom to help it not roll. So it's like this folded parallelogram thing, and you could totally wear it unfolded. But then you have this like fun thing where one pops through, one color pops through. I'm sticking to the chair. So yeah, isn't that fun? Oof. And the great thing is this Manchego has enough body that it'll just like stay up by itself, but also like it doesn't feel stiff. And then you could also wear it, of course, with your other color showing if you preferred. Which I actually probably will do. But yes. I love it. Oh, the other thing that I did do differently. Well, I paid no attention to like how many rows I was supposed to knit because I just knit till I ran out. But another thing that I did do differently is that, and they offer it as a suggestion in the pattern. that you can change the rate of increase, decrease. I want to say this pattern is free. But basically, okay, I don't have time. But I should change it. I slowed it down. So like mine is slightly less pointy than the original version. But like you could also, if it was an outside day, you could also just wear it almost like a hood, right? I mean, you're a flower, right? But you know, you could wear it however you wanted to. That's what I'm trying to say. You do you. Okay, so now works in progress. Let's track this side, where to go. Okay, so I just cast on a little sock for my travel knitting, and I knit nothing on it. That's not true. I was still down here. This is bird watching right here. Until I had to put down the knitting to pick up the binoculars. But this is just like a little 2x2 rib toe up sock. This is Knit Spin Farm. I am not sponsored by Knit Spin Farm. This is Knit Spin Farm in their Tarhi figuring More Flowers, Less Lawn by the Bees. Yes, More Flowers, Less Lawn. This is a stitch marker by Tilting Planet, Swiftly Tilting Planet. Then I'm getting a crazy sock. I wanted some shorty socks. I'm getting hot. Whew. Whew. It's warm. I wanted some shorty socks, but I feel like most of the socks I've knit that were shorter, you know, just naturally, like, okay, just by the shape of your foot, like this is a longer line than this, right? And even when, even at the heel, like even if you just like cut these off, it still feels like, I mean, you can see it when I hold it, right? Like this kind of like is wavy. And so most shorty socks I've made feel like they are too long in the front and too short in the back. And so I saw this pattern by Nicola, N-I-C, it's Nicola Susen, so Nicola, and the last name is S-U-S-E-N, and she is Nicola Strick Design. And so this is called the Strandtrep, and it's a beloved stairs district in Hamburg as the inspiration. And so let me see if there's, so this is the sock itself, and you can see it's designed so that the back definitely comes up a bit higher. So if we're in sneakers or something, like hopefully it won't slip down as much. Also, there's like lots of ribbing to keep it get a little bit more rigid, and it's really fun to knit because here's my sock. This is another crafty girl, and this is her twinkle sock, excuse me, and this is her colorway, the Glitch, right? How cute. Look at it in the ball. It's so pretty. She does just such a great job. And here it is. It has, I love the pooling that's happening, right? And so the pattern itself, you're starting off with like corrugated. So you're not like, that's not what it's called. But anyway, so you're starting out with like altering stockinette and reverse stockinette to give like a ribbing in a different direction, like a horizontal ribbing versus a vertical ribbing, and then you're transferring to all vertical ribbing. So you can kind of see if I see it's like stepping down. So fun. And it's not hard to keep track of. Like it's a set rate. She does a great thing in her pattern. If you are an experienced knitter, well, okay, so first of all, she does like give you every like there is a literal, like this is exactly the stitches and what you do, like in terms of like okay, you knit one, you purl two, you knit two until the end. And then for like whatever size, the size is 56 stitches to 72 stitches, which is awesome. Lots of times these socks don't offer, you know, they might offer two sizes, but she gives you a good range. But she also tells you, where is it? She also kind of gives you like a meta direction where she's like, okay, this is exactly what you're doing, but this is like, again, Elizabeth Zimmerman would call them pithy directions. These are the pithy directions of what you're doing, which I so appreciate. So appreciate. So she's like, okay, you're transferring these to these at a rate of this to this. And you're like, ah, thank you. Like, if you didn't feel comfortable with that, you could totally just go follow the pattern. But I feel more comfortable with like that, the pithy directions. Anyway, so I hope they fit well. They're super cute. I will let you know. And then, I mean, I do have to show you this. This is another stitch marker from Swiftly Tilting Planet, and like it matches so well. It's very exciting. Should I hold it closer for you? Just so you can like just appreciate the tiny amazingness of it. So then I also started, by the way, I have like sweaters on the needles that I have not touched in months and months. I'm okay with it. They probably are going to get ripped out and just, like one of them is a colorwork sweater that I just am ultimately not really jazzed about the colors I chose. It's that cute chicken one. So I may just turn it into like a stripy sweater and then just do that at the brim, at the border. So this is the section cut cowl, which is by our lovely Shayna Cohen, which is Shayna Lines. And it is a cowl written for fingering weight yarn. There are two sizes. There's a shorter size, which is the size I'm doing right now, and a longer one. Okay. So, right, how fun is that? It is completely reversible. You have these like welts of changing lengths, which again is why you get the section cut, right? Love it. They're super fun to work because the count is always changing because it's moving. I did make the larger stitch count and then like forgot to make the larger stitch count welts that match it. So mine is not exactly as written. Also, I'm using Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, and this is like, I don't know what color this way, the tag fell off, but whatever. Or maybe it's Loft, whatever, it's the fingering weight one. And it's poofier than the yarn I'm using, which is some hand spun, which is also by Knit Spin Farm. This is her Hello Yellow colorway, which are some bats that I purchased a few years ago at a show. I just broke them as I was winding. That's why they're in mini balls. But my my background color, or my main color, is a bit thinner than the Brooklyn Tweed. And so I did slightly narrower, like slightly less thick welts, like two rows less welty. My welts are 75% of the prescribed welt. Because when I did it as normal, I think because this yarn is considerably thicker than my background yarn, it looked really like, whoa, graphic. So I just went with, and I also added an extra line of garter because, again, of the discrepancy in weights of my yarns. And I'm very pleased with that. So yeah, I'm just going to knit it until I'm probably just going to knit till I run out of my yellow, and just see what that is. I don't know. But now I want to make like a million of these because they're very fun to knit. I have another colorway that I want to do that's also fingering weight, but I'm thinking of doubling it and doing it that, because then it would be like even faster and like jazzier, and like my contrast color would be a neon yellow, which would be very exciting. But I'm very much enjoying that. And she is just the loveliest. human. And so if you think, I also really want to make her a recalibrate top. And I think I've decided on my colors. Like I really wanted to do hand spun, but I don't have a lot of hand spun in that way. And you could totally make it in a heavier weight. Like, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I might just make it in a fingering weight, a commercial. We'll see. I might just like go really boring and make it, and these, they're here just because, you know, because of course. Don't you just like carry your yarns around with you when you're trying to make a decision? Like I might just kind of go with like this beautiful denim-y blue that is from Hip Strings, and then this Green Mountain Spinnery, which would be really fun and just like very neutrally. But then I switch. I'm like, oh, I could also, and then, oh, I don't know. I'm deciding. So maybe that's what I'll do just to like get me into it and just like get me to start. And then after I knit one, then I could maybe play with going into like, my hand spuns tend to be DK-ish. Okay. That's a lot of me talking, y'all. Oh, I have a shop update. You know how I make my living? I just like forget to mention that. So there'll be a shop update in the shop, fatsquirrelfibers.com, on June 1st. And I will have some printmaking bags. And I'm actually really excited about these. So it's funny that I forgot. My brain is awash with so many things. So yeah, I have some bags that are printmaking inspired. The first one, I'll show you the one that that's going to be most familiar to you in terms of just like, this is my sweater size bag. This is a beautiful linen cotton canvas by Jen Hewitt. Is that her name? She's an awesome printmaker who's done several lines of fabric for cotton and steel. Jan? Oh, I have her book and everything, but you know, I'm quite bad at remembering names. Her name is Jen Hewitt. And so this is a cotton canvas. It has a metallic gold, which I think you can tell. Anyway, it's beautiful. She does her lines are always gorgeous. And her book is print so rather, and it's also very cool. So that's the sweater size, and these are interfaced. So even though it is a cotton canvas, they are still interfaced. So they will stand up on their own and be very happy. Okay. Then another printmaker has just put out a line, and I was so taken with it. Crimson and Tate. I bought that at Crimson and Tate as well, which is my local fabric store. They have a wonderfully curated collection, and they're just lovely folks as well. Where is it? Oh, there it is. It is a collection from Free Spirit, and where's the? Okay, E-Bond. Thank you. E-Bond is the printmaker who does this line for Free Spirit, and I decided to make some soft bags, which I don't do, and they're also drawstring. But I loved the fabrics so much that I wanted to use them all. I felt like they needed to, I didn't want to just choose one. So this is a perfect size, and this fabric, oh my goodness, y'all. Some of you will have a solid bottom and not the print, but you'll all at least have the print on the sides. And like your bag may not look exactly like this, but it'll look pretty much like this. But this is a bag, my friend Corey made me a knitting bag that is of this style. It's like a tab drawstring, and I love it. And so I decided to make some for you. So I'm really pleased with them. The very bottom is interfaced just to give it a little bit more structure, but you know, you can definitely throw it in another bag. I used this fun rubber cording for the drawstring. I do have leather if you want something that will, break down. I don't think this would break down over time, but I do have leather if you would prefer it. But I do really like this cording because it's very slippery. And so it's very easy to just move your bag with its tabs around. And also it just feels really nice. It's like very fun to bend. I think it might actually be the same tubing that like Try It On tubing is made from. Anyway, I very much like it. So yeah, these are going to be available. Hopefully you like them. But I love this bag. It's perfect for a one skein project. Any sort of accessory. Yeah. Okay. And then, so I made all of those, but then I extra made these because I made the fabric for you too. In my screen printing class, I made this, and then I screen printed some fabric for you. So these are not perfect. Like they are, handmade. Not only did I, sew the bag obviously, but then I also just I screen printed them for you. So, they're not going to be perfect. They are, I don't recommend washing my bags, but they are treated to be color fast. Like there should be no issue if like you spill water on it or something like that, So yeah, so these are available. This is a brushed gray canvas, which I love the texture of so much. And it's lined with a slightly heavier weight cotton canvas, again, so that you'll have no issue with it standing open on its own while you're knitting. Full disclosure, I centered the print on the fabric, not on the visible portions of the fabric. So, I mean, that's, a reality. So, like you do lose some of your skeins here, but not, whatever. This was a first time thing for me. So now I know differently. I'll do a little bit differently, but so yeah, I'm very pleased with how they turned out though. So there are a number of those, and I will offer those at like the regular sweater price, just because again, this was an experiment for me in terms of like learning and what have you. This screen print has since been destroyed. So whatever is available at the shop update on June 1st at 9 p.m. Eastern time is it. But that doesn't mean that I might not reconfigure the screen, the elements of the screen, the elements of the design, and like kind of tweak how they're placed and stuff like that. So, but that will be different. So you will have, these will be completely unique to you. And then I have two that I'm very excited about, that I printed on a linen canvas for you. Right? So these, they have a black linen canvas bottom, and they are also interfaced. So again, they will stand up very nicely on their own. The size is a little bit it's a little bit bigger than my regular sweater bag because it's a bit taller, but it's about 1/2 inch narrower. Okay, so just like to give you an idea. But there are only two of these. They are, imperfect. This is the most imperfect one. You can see that there is, it's a little bit shady right there. But they are the only two. But so I hope you like them. I was really excited about how it turned out. I had to turn my screen in or I would have just kept it. But yeah. It's definitely something I would like to do more of in the future if it's something that you're interested in. So yeah, I really love how they turned out on this linen canvas. And so I hope to do some more of that in the future. Oh my goodness. So yeah, so again, that's June 1st, fatsquirrelfibers.com, 9 p.m. Eastern. Those will go up. There are only two of these, and I believe there are 5 of these, I think there are 5 of these. And there are more of these. I think there's like 11, there's more than 5. And there are also more than 5 of these. So yeah, it'll be there. Thanks for coming over. Thanks for distracting me for a while. Whew. I really appreciate your company. All right, I'll talk to you next time.